Hi, this is Tim Canolan and welcome to 2 Minutes with Tim. Today I've got the absolute pleasure to be with Matthew Dale. Welcome to 2 Minutes with Tim.
Thank you for having me.
I've been most impressed after meeting you a little while ago, and you've got a lot on your plate. So you're dealing with a lot of clients, a lot of pressures on a day-to-day basis. What are the biggest challenges that you face on a weekly basis?
Okay, so on a weekly basis, we will have anywhere from 5 to 10 or maybe 15 on a busy week, different client caseloads that we're trying to work with. They're generally TAFEs, training organisations and community colleges with different issues. And it's a matter of trying to figure out, almost like a hospital triage really, which is the most important and critical issue at that point in time.
Wow. So up to 15. So you're not just dealing with, I suppose, just the client as well. You're also dealing with their personalities.
Yeah, the personalities of many people in the businesses.
I always believe everything's a silver lining, no matter what we're doing. There's always a good way or I suppose, a reason or a lesson out of it. Have you got any big lessons that you've learnt in your professional life that you'd like to share?
For sure. I think always being clear and upfront. And when plans change or when the direction changes, about making sure that everyone that needs to be aware of the changes are clear and up to date and aware early on in the piece.
That's good. So being prepared, but just
being prepared and shooting straight and making sure that things are clear. Never assume that people understand what has been said. Make sure that it really is clear.
Good.
Yeah.
Cross your T's, dot your
Cross
I's.
your T's, dot your I's. Always.
Yeah. It's not just a funny saying. It's there for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit like reading the parking sign. And down here in Melbourne, there could be 7 parking signs at any point in time, depending on what day of the week it is, whether
Parking
it's a public
issues
holiday.
in Melbourne? No, I don't know what you're talking about, Matthew. Do you have any words of wisdom or a quote or a phrase that you like to use?
Yeah, I always go back to do what you love and love what you do, and you'll never work a day in your life.
That's well done. Can you say that again?
Do what you love and love what you do, and you'll never work a day in your life. Things shouldn't be a challenge. I mean, there's always challenges. Sometimes you get faced with personal challenges, and many of the people that you help have their own challenges every other day of the week. But you love and choose to be in that situation. But when it comes to work or other things in life that are a choice, there shouldn't be too much of a challenge in what you're doing. And if it is so much a challenge that you're hating what you're doing, it's a good time to usually reevaluate and find a way to love what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Or find something that you love doing.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. I say that very often too, because you can't necessarily always do the job that you absolutely love because it's circumstances.
Of course.
The environment that you're in. But you can always like what you're doing. And
Yes.
if you're not like it, we'll do things to make it better.
Yes, absolutely. And surround yourself with people that you like and people that you love, and do things in whatever spare time that you have that you enjoy and that make you feel fulfilled.
What puts a smile on your face? What gets you up in the morning?
My kids put a smile on my face and get me up in the morning, usually, unless they're arguing. Yeah, my kids and my family and my business that get me out of bed in the morning, and I love what I do.
How long have you been doing this?
So I've been in the education sector for a good 10 years, probably going on 11 now.
Okay.
And I've been consulting for the majority of that, but we've run Audit Express and my compliance manager since 2013 from it.
If you could travel back in time to see your 18-year-old self,
Yeah.
what would you say?
I'd say trust your instinct, trust your intuition, and back yourself 100%. Trust your judgment, and if you're doing what feels right, and you back yourself 100%, even when you make a mistake, it shouldn't really matter.
Love it. Did you write that down? I've been involved with the community for a very long time, and you seem quite interested and passionate about the community as well. Why do you think it's important that people support their community?
People, I think you usually have a number of communities that make up your own personal community. That could be your family, it could be the town that you live in, it could be, for some people, religion. For some people like myself, it could be the gay community, the GLBTI community. And I think you form a hybrid of all the communities, and that becomes your community. It's really important to give back and to be part of your community, so that it's there for not only for yourself, but for the future generations and for the other people that are part of the community as well.
May I ask why you've
Sure.
chosen to support TLC for Kids?
Yeah, absolutely. So when my children were much younger, particularly my son, who's now 13 and all growing up, he spent a lot of time in the Royal Children's Hospital. He had very, very bad eczema at the time, and there's an entire dermal therapy or dermal unit of the Children's Hospital that's dedicated and full of little babies and children wrapped in bandages like mummies. So we spent a lot of time in the Royal Children's. I got lots of parking fines. I skipped lots of meals. I took days off university and days off work to be there, and we made it through. But it was a very challenging and a very tough experience at the time. And there's lots of families out there every week that are going through it, and I really admire what you do. And at the time, I suspect at the time there were certainly the Starlight TVs, but I suspect at the time there were also the boxes full of glitter wands and toys and things to keep them entertained, but often that's half of the battle, that blood test that at that point in time you just need to get through that one blood test or that one examination that is quite physically painful for the child, emotionally painful for the parent having to go through it as well, and that distraction is sometimes all that you need. So I really admire what you're doing.
Thank you very much. Well, we're absolutely rapt to have you on board and great advocate and supporter, and I know I've said this to you many times as well, but you're a man of your word, and that's something I have a lot of respect for people that have strong integrity, and if you're going to show up, you show up and you do it, where there is a lot of talk from people, and I understand people get busy, people say a lot of things, but you are a doer, not just a sayer. So
thank you.
Well done, Matthew. Thank you very much. There's a big topic out there at the moment, something that I've voted, I'm 100% backing the whole marriage equality
champion. I think I might have seen a ring on your finger
absolutely.
as well.
So it's been in every video. Make sure it's up there, and I'm hats off to that was Airbnb for that as well.
Till we all belong ring.
Yeah, which is beautiful, and $3.
Yeah, amazing.
It's not even a question of, well, I'm going to spend $150 to do this, which I would have done anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
But
do you find it's a conversation starter? Do people ask you questions, or do they
did originally, but now they're all saying, "Oh, great."
Yeah.
So the comment are fantastic, good to see. So it's a bit of solidarity. It's interesting. I've found this whole, especially the ballot and the voting side, it's been a bit of a polarising situation where back in the day when you were voting for your preferred party,
yes,
it used to be pretty private.
Yeah, for sure.
And there weren't too many people walking around with a big flag saying, "Oh, I vote Labor, I vote Greens, I vote Liberal," whatever it was. It was all, you got your private voting booth.
Yes.
And whatever the results are, it would either be "Oh, damn it," or "Oh, that's good."
Yeah.
But now that this has come out about marriage equality, it's polarised people to say, "Well, how dare you have a vote or a right to do it?" So, what's going on in your world? And
look, in my mind, I think it's really important that we're having this vote, that everybody does have their vote, and I respect people's right to vote one way or the other. But I think it's really important to acknowledge that we didn't need to be in this situation. The vote, I believe, is quite unnecessary. I think it's a very expensive and unnecessary process. I think it's quite selfish of the parliamentarians that voted and pushed for this to go through, and also quite selfish of those that stood by and allowed it to go through. I really think that this will be a stain on the history of our nation, and I think that 122 million, if that's the true figure, I suspect it might have been a little bit more than that, but we'll never really know, I guess, could have gone to so many other things. It could have gone, first of all, to TLC for Kids and the work that you do, or many other worthy charities. My partner and business partner Kevin and I paid to print off a whole stack of flyers encouraging people to register to vote or update their details in the period leading up to, and then also encouraging people to vote yes. We've had a team of, I'd say, 100 volunteers have helped us cover Flinders Street Station, every CBD train station,
Fantastic.
And also Paran. But this one guy at Flinders Street Station who's homeless has had a few really decent conversations with me about how upset he personally is, but the homeless community are really upset as well. You could almost buy every homeless person in the nation a house with that money.
And they're primarily upset for the waste of money.
The waste of money. It's the waste of money that people are really upset about. But I think also the real issue, and anybody in the homeless community would vouch for it as well, the high percentage rate of GLBTI people that are homeless. I really struggle to think of any other group of people that face discrimination that get kicked out of home as a child for being in that situation.
And being who they are.
For sure.
Yeah. Their opinion is actually hurting people's lives, and the amount of depression. I've been reading stats about depression and suicide rates regarding marriage equality.
Absolutely.
Regarding the not having the right to actually marry the person that you love.
Yes. Yeah.
But that affects our community because there's a lot of resources again put into supporting, nurturing those people, helping them get through a situation which is at the end of the day, I suppose it's nobody's business.
Well, that's exactly right. And there's a direct cost of actually sending out the letters and having the voting process. And then there's the on-flow effect. And you're quite right. I've got a number of friends that work in Switchboard, which is a telephone counselling service in Melbourne, and also others that work in Lifeline as volunteer telephone counsellors. And there has been a notable spike in the incidents of self-harm, attempted suicide, and suicidal thoughts from the GLBTI community throughout this whole process. And some terrible things have been said and done. And I don't know that at the end of this debate that will necessarily go away, certainly not instantly.
But if there's been a spike because it's added extra stress, so I'm just hoping that, I suppose, the powers that be legalise and make this happen, because that should take care of, not all, but it should take care of a portion of people that are depressed or going through these situations, if they're allowed to marry, if they want to, marry the person they love.
And I would hope that the vote would go through as soon as possible, and that Parliament could move on to debating more important things like health policy and so many other things that really need to be debated, and that they can get on to doing their real job, not complaining about what song is played at the NRL Grand Final. Thank you for the work that you're doing, and your colleagues here at TLC, and I look forward to continuing to support you in any way we can.
Thank you so much. This has been brilliant. Well, this has been Matthew Dale. I'm Tim Canolan. You've been watching 2 Minutes with Tim, and we look forward to seeing you next time. If anybody wants any information about either what you're doing, or if you've got like a campaign that you're running, is there a URL or a website?
Sure. I'll give you my URL, and we might be able to put that either Instagram or Twitter URL, and you can follow me online.
Beautiful. All right, we'll keep an eye out for the details down the bottom, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Cheers.